What's going on, everybody? So here we are in Warframe, and I'm going to try to make some guides here. This is going to be a Damage 2.0 guide. I'm going to actually split this up into a couple of different videos so it doesn't go too long. And I'm going to try to cover certain topics in each one. In this one, we're going to try to cover the basic physical damage, which will be your impact, your puncture, and your slash damage. And how they work within the system now, within the new Damage 2.0 system. Every physical damage will also have a status effect attached to it, so I will make sure that I tell you what the status effect is that goes with the damage, and of course that is increased, obviously, as your stats are increased as well. And if you use the status mods, you can increase the chances even more. But we'll get into that in a future episode, most likely. Anyway, so you've got a few different things, right? So you're looking at, first, if you're new, you're shooting things, you're hitting these, and you're seeing all different types of numbers, and you have no idea what the heck every number means. Well, let me just give you a basic idea. So you've got your white numbers that you see on your screen are going to be actually attacks on the health of the enemy. Your blue numbers, when you see a blue number pop up, that's going to be an attack on the shields from the enemy. Okay, your critical hit and stealth style attacks are going to actually be yellow. If you build it and you see a lot of yellow, then you got a good critical hit going on. And then finally, you're going to have the what we call the modified critical hit, which is the red one, which is the super crit, more or less, is how you want to call it. The gun that's best for that will be the Synops at this time, which could actually effectively do 125% critical. Not that you need to go that high, but it can. Okay. But that just tells you what the numbers are that you're looking at, and that's also affected too. So, based off of what you've got, how you've got it set up. So let's say the weapon damage and mod damage are based off of your bullets. Okay, so you got a rifle. Every time your rifle hits, you got the damage that comes out of it. The shotgun type weapons, the spread of all the individual pellets will each have their own numbers attached to it. Weapons that have a multi-shot attached to it, each bullet, bow, or each bullet, each arrow, whatever it is, will have its own number attached to it, so that's why you see a lot of numbers popping up all the time. Just to give you an idea, okay? So physical damage is your basic, physical damage that you do to the enemies, and each weapon has its own set. Some have better impact, some have better puncture, some have better slash. Some are obviously better with other enemies than other ones, so forth and so on, okay? There is no one gun that is 100% in any direction, more or less. So there's no one gun that is 100% effective on any of the enemy types in the game. D's made sure of that. Obviously some are more impactful to others. So you can still run any weapon you want, just some of them will have less effect. So let's get into the impact damage, okay? I'm sorry. Let's get into the impact damage, and we're going to be looking at specific mods within the impact damage, okay? And the thing with impact damage will give you a status chance of knockback. So any impact heavy weapons and adding a status proc card or status card to it will increase the knockback of that weaponry, okay? Which is a good thing depending upon what you're doing. So this is going to cause your targets to stun, which if you're doing some high level stuff, that's always a good thing. You can stun the high level enemies and stop them for a few seconds to get some more damage in on them. But the cards that are you're looking for in here, you're going to be looking for a rupture mod, which will be for the rifle, and at max it's going to give you a 30% impact increase. You're going to have the Disruptor mod for shotgun, At max is going to give you a 30% impact damage increase. Concussion rounds on the pistol at max is going to give you a 60% increase. And heavy trauma for melee at the at the max, you are going to get 90% increase in your impact damage. Okay, so that's pretty good. There are a couple weapons without impact damage right now. I think the Lenka and the Ignis have no base impact damage, and they are unaffected by these mods, so just keep that in mind if you are running any. I'm not going to go through the list of each one that has better and worse or whatever, because that just take too long. So you guys can look that up simply just looking in game, which one is for which, and however you want to do that. But that's the impact damage. So those are your 4 cards that you're looking for inside the impact. Impact damage does really good against machinery. It's got an increase against machinery. Impact damage is, and that would be in the Grenadier side, like the little rollers and stuff. Impact damage is good on the shields against the Corpus. Okay. And it really does not have much of an effect, impact damage, against infested at all. So just keep that in mind. Impact is not really useful against the infested. Okay, so moving on from impact damage, let's talk about puncture damage. Puncture damage is going to give you the status effect of weakened, causing the victims under this effect to deal less damage on the attackers, or on their attacks, I should say. So if you're running a status card with this and you're increasing your status chance, you're going to have an increased weakened ability against them. Okay, so we're looking at piercing hit for the rifle, which at max will give you an extra 30% puncture damage. Accelerated blast on the shotgun, which at max level will give you an extra 60% chance. Puncture damage thing. Sorry. Fléché for shotgun, which at max will give you an extra 30%. So if you put together your Fléché and your accelerated blast, you can get yourself up to a max 90% extra damage. No return for the pistol will give you a max 60%. And then you have Sundering Strike in the melee, which can max at 90% additional puncture damage, and Rendering Strike for melee, which can max at an extra 60% puncture damage. So you can actually bring that up to 150% puncture damage increase if you put the 2 melee, the Sundering Strike and Rendering Strike, together in a mod. Now, puncture. It's not too bad. It's pretty good against the Grenadier in terms of armor damage. Okay. Against the Corpus, it's good against the robotic style, but it's not really something that's good against the Corpus. You actually have a negative effect on the Corpus, their shields. So just keep that in mind with puncture. And then it's not too bad against the infested. Okay, so there is some additional damage there against the infested for puncture damage. Okay. So then we are going to talk about, what do we talk about next, everybody? We're going to talk about slash damage. So, slash damage, it increases the damage against flesh and infested enemies by about 25%, but it reduces damage against robotics by about 25%. So just keep that in mind. You have your gains and your losses again. So, you know, it's a give or take on everything when you're building. The Soma, for example, has all 3 damage types, with the slash being the highest. The slash's damage status is bleed. Slash damage has, as you probably tell on something like the Galantine, which is all slash damage. Slash damage has a tendency to rip open enemies, cut them in half, dismember them. regardless of whatever weapon type of damage you're using. So that's why the Galantine's so fun. That nice sword there, it is actually all base slash damage. You can bring up the other ones though, but that's why you tend to see them just shred apart when you're doing it. So the mods for this, you're going to have the Sawtooth Clip, which is the rifle mod, which you can max out at an extra 30% slash damage. The Shredder mod for shotgun, which you can max out at an extra 30% slash damage as well. The Razor Shot for pistol, which can max out at 60% slash damage. And the Jagged Edge for the melee, which can max out at 90% additional slash damage. So against the Grineer, it does have on the fleshed enemies of the Grineer, you do have an increase, but you do have a negative effect with the armor on the Grineer, so you got to be careful with that. Though you do cause bleed out damage. The Corpus is pretty good against the Corpus, the slash damage, but it does have a negative effect as well on the higher robotic style, but you probably won't really notice it a lot. And then last but not least, slash damage is best against the infested. So you have major damage dealing and bleed out on the infested. So this is perfect for the infested. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well. So let's just see what we got here. So we are going to actually end the episode here, or this this guide that we got into. Okay, and we're just talking about the basic damage. So hopefully that basic damage and the me putting the cards and stuff up on the screen will help you, especially new players, into understanding your damage and how you can be more effective, what enemy types it's best against, and such. And stay tuned for the next episode where I will go into the elemental damage, and depending upon how we get into that, I may do the full elementals where you have regular elementals and combined or dual elementals, but we'll see how that goes. So again, thank you for watching. Please do hit that like button if you did like it, if it was helpful. Comments below anytime. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. It's much appreciated. And I will catch you guys in the next episode, guide, and whatever it is that we do. Thanks for watching. See you later.